Everett Ingram, Ingram, versus Providence Panorama Clinic and an employee named Courtney Francis, I believe. And this is listed on the calendar as a protection order case, but it looks like there's also a claim for damages. So, Mr. Ingram, tell me what it is that you're looking for in this case.
The main issue, Your Honor, is my protected medical information was disclosed without authorization and outside any legal exception under RCW 70.02.050.
Tell me about it. How did it happen? What happened?
The narrative that we developed for you was fairly straightforward. I went to fulfill a doctor's appointment, and my driver was my daughter-in-law, who decided not to wear her mask. I had no problem wearing my mask. I put my mask on and went into my doctor's appointment. Apparently, my daughter-in-law was excused from the premises by the sheriff's department, and her primary concern was for when I left my appointment with my doctor, I would have somebody there that I could, go with to go home. Consequently, the sheriff went into the clinic itself to inquire as to how long I was going to be. And at that point is when my private medical information was breached. The person inside the clinic made a statement to the police officer, and you have that police report in our packet of information. The statement was basically that I was on a controlled substance and that I would have difficulty getting another doctor to assist me. I was unaware of why those statements were made, but that they were basically made. I feel it was a breach, in my personal privacy, and I think that the Panorama Providence people should recognize that fact.
All right, I looked in the file and it appears to me that you did make service on Providence Panorama Clinic.
Yes, sir.
Understanding? I don't see any service made on someone named Courtney Francis. Is that your understanding?
My understanding, yes. No. I don't know. It was by registered mail, receipt requested. Apparently that woman was the woman who accepted the notification on behalf of Panorama and signed the certificate that came back to me. I'm not suing Courtney. I'm suing Panorama Providence for a breach in my private medical information.
And the date on which you were there for service was January 21st. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And the date of the police report was February 10th. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you filed this claim on the 27th of February. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Now, the difference in the time frame is when I notified the sheriff's department, I wanted to make sure that the officer's statement was clear and precise to me, because I had heard this issue secondhand. He affirmed with me as to what was said in the lobby of the medical office, And I asked him if he would amend his incident report to properly reflect that. He said that he would. Once I received that, I then forwarded that to the court.
So there was a prior incident report from January 21?
Yes, sir. And an amended one, which the court has both.
Well, I've seen the one from 210. I haven't seen the one from 121.
They're basically identical, with the exception that the officer specifically made a notation as to what happened in reference to the woman or the clinic making the claim that I was on a controlled substance. In the lobby, in front of all the staff and in front of all the people that were waiting for their appointments.
Were you there when that statement was made?
No, sir, I was in with my physician.
And how do you know that it was made in front of all those people?
Because when I went out into the lobby, the staff immediately took me outside, where I found my daughter-in-law and two police officers. The officer explained to me what he had heard. My daughter-in-law said, "Would you please explain to my father-in-law what transpired when you went in to see how long I was going to be?" And that is what he said. That he went in, asked the question, "How long will Mr. Ingram be with his physician?" They came back with, "He is on a controlled substance." And they had no timeline for when I was going to leave my physician's private office.
All right, Mr. Ingram, a couple of things that strike me here. One, concerned why Providence Panorama has not appeared today, or someone on their behalf. Two, your written narrative talks about defamation at one point, in addition to the breach of, hold on.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yeah. Talks about defamation in addition to your claim for breach of confidentiality. It appears to me from reading the documents that I've seen in there that there was another part of the discussion as well, other than just someone from Panorama saying he's on a controlled substance in front of a waiting room full of people. And that was that there was going to be, that your daughter-in-law told the officer that you wanted to switch care providers.
No, that is not so.
And that's when the nurse responded, there's going to be a problem with that because he's on a controlled substance.
What was said was that the police officer notified, and this is according to the conversation that I had with the police officer, that my daughter-in-law would not be returning to the clinic that day. That's all that was said.
So where did I come up with the idea that you were not going to be returning to the office?
I have absolutely no idea.
Mr. Ingram, do you remain a patient at Panorama Clinic?
I do not, sir.
And was this visit on the 21st of January your last visit there?
Yes, it was. I did not feel comfortable returning.
And the harm that has come to you as a result of this alleged breach of confidentiality is what?
I basically lost my confidence in what I feel I can tell my physician and not tell my physician. This breach is very unsettling to me, and I kind of lost a little bit of my faith in the practice that my information is a private matter, not a public matter. I found myself with my new physician kind of holding back on elements because didn't want to bring them up. I didn't feel comfortable. However, I've had 3 individual appointments with my new physician, and since then I have more confidence in him.
Let me ask this question. When you left treatment at Providence Panorama, did you have to go through some sort of additional process to have your file moved to your new doctor?
No, sir. My medical records are on a thing called My Chart. All of the doctors share it. So every doctor in our general area has access to that information. I just have to give them permission to access that information. So there was no transfer request made. And the controlled substance they spoke of was a pain medication that I had taken after a major back surgery, fusing several discs. And I have not really been on that medication for some time. But it was just the overall breach of the situation that I felt very concerning.
Well, I can understand that concern that you have, Mr. Ingram. I think there are pieces to this puzzle that we don't have here. It appears to me, as I'm trying to fill in the blanks, so to speak, that if there was a discussion between the police officer or the sheriff and the staff person there at the clinic about your daughter-in-law leaving and some question about how you were going to get home, that I could foresee the clinic employee saying he's on a controlled substance, he shouldn't be driving, or something, suggesting that at least. I don't know that that's the case. Again, I wasn't there. You weren't there.
I understand, Your Honor. And no, that was not the case. My daughter-in-law was just wanted to make sure that I knew that she was still at the clinic, but outside of the clinic. While I was in with my physician, a staff member or another nurse poked her head in and asked for a private consultation with my doctor, after which my doctor explained to me that the officers have come to the site to move my daughter outside of the clinic itself. That was the first I'd heard of it. And when I left my physician's office, there was a staff person waiting there, took me gently by the arm and led me straight to the door. And that was that. Yeah, there was absolutely no reason for this breach.
Well, Mr. Ingram, the problem is you weren't there for this whole process. I wasn't there for this whole process. And the pieces can be arranged in multiple different ways here. I'm thinking that based upon what you've said so far in terms of what was going on that you understood and what medication you were on, that there was a concern about your ability to get yourself home if in fact your daughter-in-law left. Or if she was ordered off the premises by...
Well, Your Honor.
No, Mr. Ingram, I've heard enough. We're not arguing here because there's nobody on your side here for you to argue about.
I just wanted to.
It was, the original claim was $1,000 for breach of doctor-patient confidentiality and defamation. Defamation, the general concept of that is that it somehow lowers your reputation in the community. We don't know how many people heard what it was that was said. You may suspect that it was a whole waiting room full of people, but we don't know that for sure. And you haven't provided any kind of proof that your reputation in the community has been affected by that. So I'm not seeing any kind of defamation damage here. As far as the breach of confidentiality, I'm sort of at a loss for this. It may be, and I haven't looked at the statute 7020 or 02005. And
say your let me read the bullets so you have it from
some sort.
Your Honor, may I read the?
On Mr. Ingram, and it may have been done again in a situation have a officer involved with a request about ability to care for yourself, get yourself home, this, that, the other thing. I don't know that either because
it doesn't matter.
Irrelevant. Your Honor, it doesn't really matter. RCW 70.02.05, the applicable standard, healthcare information may not be disclosed without patient authorization except in limited circumstances defined by the law. And those limited exceptions are medical emergency requiring disclosure to protect health and safety, which it doesn't comply, a court order, subpoena, or legal requirement, a public health reporting requirement, a specific law enforcement request authorized by the law, or a mandatory reporting through proper channels, adult protective services, etc. So none of those exceptions apply here. The main body of the RCW 70.02.050 is that they breached my confidentiality, my personal medical records. The other business, about what was said doesn't really matter. The heart of the thing is that particular statute.
All right, Mr. Ingram, I am going to find, based on the fact that Providence did not appear today after having been served apparently by mail on the 17th of April, that you are entitled to a judgment today. How did you land upon the figure of $10,000 for damages?
I thought it would be enough to get their attention. So they would be here today so we could discuss these issues.
For the court to award damages in any amount, there needs to be some evidence of damage. You have written in your narrative that you had anxiety. You testified today that you were concerned about what you could tell your doctor, your current doctor, and that you've withheld information because you're concerned about an improper disclosure. As I say, I believe you may be correct that there was a technical violation of the statute. I still think that there was a potential health and safety issue that was involved, and that's more likely what the reason was that the statement was made about.
That doesn't matter. If they had a concern, they could have gone to adult services. They could have done a number of things, but they chose not to do that.
That's right. They chose to talk to the police officer who was present in their room, who was asking the questions about this. So what I'm going to do, Mr. Ingram, is award you a judgment in the amount of $1,000 for the breach of patient confidentiality, nothing for the defamation claim that you made.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And again, that will be only against the defendant, Providence Panorama Clinic.
I'll send you the judgment.
Thank you.
This principle.
All right, I've signed that judgment, default judgment in favor of Everett Ingram for $1,000 against Providence Panorama Clinic. Claim against defendant Francis is dismissed. You can get a copy of this judgment and sentence form from the clerk's office next week, starting on Monday.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you for being here, Mr. Ingram. You
My
may leave the
pleasure.
meeting.
Okay.